Hello everyone, welcome back to Code to Serve Academy. So in the last lecture, we covered almost all the topic of class 10, that is the first chapter that we were revising, basic concept of Java. So this will be the last lecture of the chapter 1. In this, we will be dealing with switch case and nested loop. And also very important topic we are going to cover is the pattern printing. And in your board exam also, there will be one pattern printing question will be present in your board exam. So it is very important. So please pay attention to this lecture. Okay. So let us see over here, switch case. So I have already covered the topic of if else. So switch case works something like a if else block. That is, you can say like a ladder of if else. So what is written over here? Switch case works like if else ladder. So if you have a multiple condition and you want to write multiple condition, so instead of writing so many if else part, you can directly use the switch case block. Okay, so using this we can achieve the same result as we can achieve using if else ladder. Okay, so first let us have a look over here. What is the syntax of switch case? Okay, so in switch case actually we write the keyword switch and the switch is in small letter, right? So inside that it is a you can call it as a function, like in there, after that in the bracket, in the curly opening and closing bracket, you have to write an expression. An expression can be like you can think of like the value, what value you want to check. All right, so here all the cases will be present. All the cases will be present like case 1, case 2, case 3, and n number of cases will be present. Based on the case, what is happening, based on the case, it is getting executed. Suppose in the expression you pass a value of a, suppose int a is equals to 1 is present, and this a if you pass over here in the switch block, if you pass a, that means in whichever case the value is written as 1, case 1 or case 2 or case 3 or case 4, if this value gets matched with any of the case present over here, then that particular block of code will get executed and the remaining will be discarded. So there is a cache over here. If by mistake, if you forget to write the break keyword, I will let you know what is break keyword. If by mistake you forget to write the break keyword, suppose the case was 1. Suppose in the switch you wrote A and the case 1 was there. So the first case will be matched. So in that case, the first statement or the first block will get executed. So whatever lines of code, suppose 5 lines of code you have written over here, all those 5 lines of code will be executed. And if the condition was true, then the second case will be executed along with the third case, along with the default case. So what break keyword is doing, like if any case is matched, like if we try to match over here, like a equals to 1 and the value of case was 1, and if that get matched, after executing all the lines of the code, we need to write a break keyword. What break keyword do? Like it will break the nearest block. So the nearest block is a switch block. That means the control after here will come out of this block. That means it will not go to the case number 2. Now you think of another scenario, like suppose you have written case 1, case 2, case 3, but the value of A was 5. So you have not written case 5. In that case, it will first match 1, 2, 3. So all of them missed. So by default, if that case is not present, in that case, the default block will get executed. So whatever you have written over here in the last block, that will get executed. So in the last block, it is not required to write the break keyword. So in the remaining cases, it is mandatory to write break keyword. Okay. So let us quickly solve one problem, then you will get an idea. So here you can see, write a program that calculates the area of a triangle. A is area of a triangle, B is rectangle, and C is circle. So you are given a question like you have to give user option, like you have to give 3 options. So if user select option number 1, then you have to calculate the area of a triangle. If user selects option number 2, then you have to calculate the area of rectangle. Since similarly, you have to calculate for circle. All right. So let us have a look over here. So what I told, first you have to write the switch block. Okay. So before that, I'm not writing the complete program. I'm writing just the main part. So you think of like you give the user output uh, system.out.println. You gave output SOPLN. You gave one message, enter one for what was the first part? First was for triangle. So you can give an option, one for triangle, two for rectangle, and three for circle. If you wish, you can write a three separate SOPLN. SOPLN enter one for triangle, SOPLN for triangle, rectangle, and SOPLN for circle. You can write in a three different line, but I am writing in a single line. All right. Now we have to focus on the main logic. Okay. So now what happens? You have to take input from the user. So before this, what you will do, you will import the scanner class. I'm not importing the complete program. I'm not writing the complete program. So suppose you have imported the scanner class. All right, before the class name. So what you can write, scanner sc is equals to new scanner. And in this we pass system dot n. All right. Now our task is to enter one number. Based on that number, we will perform the task. All right. So now suppose whatever users enters that number, so we can capture into any variable. That variable can be an integer variable. So we will say int n is equals to sc dot next int. That means we are capturing one integer variable from the user. Now suppose user entered 1 or user entered 2 or user entered 3, or apart from that user entered any other number. So that will be a default case. All right. So over here what we will write? We will write switch, and in this we will pass n. All right. We'll write switch and we will pass n. All right. Now we will write the cases. Like there is three condition over here. There is three condition that three different parts is there. So for that three different part, we have to write three cases. All right. We will first write case one. Case. See how I am writing. Case is small and then space and one. Numeric one. Suppose you are writing for ABC. Suppose you have to check for ABC. Then you will write case single quotation A. That means it will check for character variable. Okay, character type. Now it is an integer type. So you will write case 1. Then you will give semicolon. Then you will give semicolon. After this, you will write the complete piece of code, whatever is required. So now, first part was triangle. Suppose we are calculating the area for right angle triangle. For right angle triangle. So for right angle triangle, what is the formula for calculating area? Half into base into height. All right. So we can calculate the area using area of a triangle using half into base into height. All right. So what we need? So we need two things from the user. We need the base and we need the height. So again, in this particular block, we will take the input. So suppose here we declare int, h and b. So we declared two variable inside this block. All right. Next, after that, what we'll do? We will take input from the user for height and base. So we'll write over here SOPLN. In your exam, don't write SOPLN. You have to write the complete format system.out.println. SOPLN, and here you will write enter first height. So we'll capture the height first. So what we'll do? H is equals to sc dot next int. So what we did? We took the height from the user. Similarly, we'll write SOPLN, enter base. Okay, so we'll take the base SC dot next int. After that, we need to find the area. So we can say, like the area, whenever you see divide is there, so there is a possibility like you will get a decimal point number. So here, whenever you calculate area or you calculate a amount, so during that time you take a double type or a float type. So here I will take float area is equals to, for we can calculate half into base into height, or directly we can write 0.5 into this. Okay, so I'm writing directly 0.5 into base over here is b and h, b into h. All right, so almost we have done calculated the area. Now you have to print it, so you can write SOPLN area of triangle is equivalent to plus. So whenever you have to concatenate string with some number, you can write like this. You will give in the quotation, then you will get plus, then you will write the variable name. Variable name is A. So you will write over here A. So this is basically concatenation. All right. Now we have written complete part. So what I told you, after writing the complete block, you have to write a keyword. That keyword is a break keyword. So at the end, you will write break and then semicolon. That means if user entered 1, then only this part will get executed. Case number 2 will not be executed. Got it? So now let's move forward for the second case. Case 2. Case 2. So similarly, what you will do for case 2, it was a rectangle. For rectangle, you need length and breadth. Okay. So what we will do, we'll declare int length and breadth. All right. Now, after that, what we'll do, we'll take input from the user. Okay. So we'll say len. So this time I'm not displaying the message to the user. I'm directly taking the input. What you can do, you can display the message first, system.out.println, enter length, then you take length, then again you do system.out.println, enter breadth, then you take the breadth. I'm directly skipping those two statements and I'm directly writing over here sc dot next int. So first I took what, length, then I'm taking breadth, sc dot next int. Then I'll need to calculate the area. So I'll write float area of rectangle is equals to L into B. All right. Next, now you see over here, we have taken the length and breadth into integer type. So if in the question it is not given, for a safer side, you can take a float. Okay. If it is given like only integer value or only a fixed integer value is required, then you take integer. But always for a safer side, you take float or double. But here I have taken integer, you can change accordingly. Okay. So next, what we'll do, we'll output that SOPLN area of rectangle is equals to plus area R. So this is a variable name that we are writing. So it will concatenate the result and it will form a new string and that string will get printed. Then after completing this block also, we'll write break. All right. Next, case number 3. So case number 3 is very easy. You can write, I'm leaving this case number 3 for you all. You write the case number 3. Now, don't forget at the end to write the break keyword. Okay. At the end, here we have to write the default case. So what we'll write? Default case. So here at the end, it is mandatory to write the break keyword in all the cases. Okay. Now the default case will be like user had entered suppose 4 or 5. Then what you have to write? You have to print a message like a wrong choice. So we can print here one message, SOPLN, wrong input. All right. So now we'll close the switch part. So for the again here you will close the main and then you will close the class part. So this is pretty much easy for you all. If you will write one program on your own for the switch case, then it is very easy. It is a straightforward program you have to write. Okay. So now we'll move next. So I hope I have cleared the concept of switch case. Still, if you have doubt, you can comment over in the comment box. Okay. So let's move forward. So we have now the nested loop. So what nested loop means? Suppose there is one loop present. So inside that loop, inside the body of one loop, there is another loop. Then we say it as a nested loop. So if you can see over here, first is a for loop. For loop, int I variable is declared, which is going from 1 to 5. And inside that, so this is the body of the for loop. That is the body of I loop. So inside that body, there is another loop present, and inside that there is another body. So for this type of loop, we call it as a nested loop. So this is very helpful. This is very helpful when there is a question asked regarding the pattern printing. So let us first quickly dry run it. So how this is getting executed. So let us quickly dry run it and then we'll move to the next part. So whenever you see a question, like whenever you will be asked like what will be the output of the program or what will be the output of the given snippet, so all the time you make the boxes of all the variable that is present in that snippet or that particular piece of a code. So over here you see that first program will come over here and then you will be encountering with variable I. So let's quickly make variable I, and the value, initial value of I is 1. So 1 will be present over here. Okay. Next. Now we see int j. So this part you already know, like in the last class I covered you, like from here it is going to here, and then from here it directly goes to this part. So this was the first, this is the second, and this is the third part. It is not going into the I++. After executing all this body, then it is going here. After executing all these stuff, then it is going to here. All right. So you know the syntax. So I'm moving forward with the output. So let us quickly try to find the output of this. So over here we see like this loop will run 5 times. Sorry, 4 times, because equal to is not given over here. So it will start from 1, it will go second, third, fourth, and then it will get terminated. Now, again inside this you see J is over also declared over here. J is also declared over here. Okay. So J is also declared and the value is 1. So what will happen? It will check the condition J is less than 5. This is true. It will come inside. It will print J. So over here, it will print J. It will print J. 1 got printed. Then it is SOPLN, SOPLN. So it will come to the next line. It will come to the next line. Next, from here, you see, this is the body of this part. So from here, it will go to this block. It will go to this block, not upper block. So in nested loop, you have to keep in mind, first the execution of this will get completed, then it will go to the next iteration of I. All right. So what happens? J was 1 and then it came inside and system.out.println J. So the value of J was 1. All right. So 1 got printed. And again over here it will be J++. J++, that means J was 1. Now J will become 2. Now it will check the condition. J 2 is less than 5. True. Then again it will go inside. System.out.println J. So J is 2. So 2 will get printed. Again, line will get changed all the time. System.out.println is written, so all the thing will be getting printed in the new line. So now again from here it will go to j plus plus. Now j will become 3. Again condition will be checked. J is less than 5. True. It will go inside this and j will be printed. Again j will be printed as 3. Similarly, it will go j plus plus. J is 4. Then what will happen? Again the condition is true. It will go down. It will print it. Again it will go up. J plus plus. Now j value will become 5. Now the condition will fail because 5 5 is not less than 5. This condition is false. So this condition is false. So it will come out. It will come out. That means it will come out of this particular block. It will come out of this particular block and it will reach over here. Whenever it reaches over here, it will go to this part. It will go to this part. Now what will happen? I value was 1. Now I will become 2. Got it? Now again the condition will be checked. 2 is less than 5. Yes, 2 is less than 5. Again it will go inside. Again j will become 1. All right, again j will become 1. Again this will run again 4 times. Then it will become go to the I part. Then the I will also run 4 times. So what it means? Total 16 time it will get executed. When I value was 1, it will execute how many times? 4 times. When I value was 2, it will get executed 4 times. That means 4 into 4, that is 16 iteration will be done in this case. Okay, let's move forward. So we are now approaching to our last topic of this chapter, that is a pattern printing. And we will see, I have categorized all the pattern printing into the 4 categories, 4 types. So first, this is the first type. First, you have to identify in which category that pattern printing is falling. Okay, and based on that, you can apply the logic what I am going to tell you. Okay, so the first is right half pyramid. Okay, right half pyramid. Why it is a name given right half pyramid? Because pyramid here means like whenever you see the diagonal, you have to focus over here. Somewhere in your quiz part or somewhere you will get a question what the right pyramid means. So whenever you see a triangle like this, and when the diagonal of the triangle is facing towards the right side, whenever the diagonal of the triangle that is forming and the diagonal is facing toward the right side, that means right pyramid. And it is what is a half pyramid? Because only half part is present. Okay, so it is a right half pyramid. So you have to understand what is right half, what is left half, what is right inverse half, and what is left inverse half. So this will be the 4 category that will be dealing. So this is what this is right half pyramid. Then you will have inverse of right half pyramid. So this is the first type, that is a right half pyramid. Second one is a inverse right half pyramid. Then you will get then you will get then you will get left half pyramid, and at the end you will get inverse. Last one is inverse. What is happening? Last one is inverse left half pyramid. So how you can identify? I told you, you have to see the diagonals. If the diagonal is towards the right, it is a right pyramid. Okay, and now you have to check whether it is an inverse or it is not inverse. So if you see it is increasing, then it is normal. But if you see it is decreasing, that means it is a inverse. Okay, so mostly all the pattern printing that will be asked in your board exam will be based on this particular type. Okay, so let us see over here. I'll give you quick concept, and based on that, you will be able to solve any pattern printing that will be asked in your exam. Okay, so have a look over here. Here you see like the left pyramid, that means the right pyramid, all the right pyramid. This is the right pyramid. Okay, so this is a right pyramid. This is also a right pyramid. All right. So this is a right pyramid and this is also a right pyramid. So now you have to keep in mind, whenever there is a right pyramid, you need only two for loop. In all the cases, there will be a nested loop, but in the right pyramid, you need only I and J loop. All right, you have to keep in mind. For the right pyramid, you only need two loop, that is a I and J. And for the left pyramid, you need three loop. Without three loop, you cannot write the left pyramid. Okay. So in this case, you need I, you need J, and you need K. That's it. If you are able to identify in which category it is falling, you can easily write any piece of code for the pattern printing. Okay. So over here, what I mean by I means the row, all the row that you see, all the row that you see. Okay. And J means the column. J means the column. So this will get controlled by J and this will get controlled by I. And whatever white spaces in this scenario you see, like these are the white spaces, you have to also print the white spaces. So the white spaces will be controlled by K loop. So this is in whatever naming you can give, but it is a general convention. Like with I, you can give anything, you can write A, you can write B or anything, but the general convention is with I we control the row and with J we control the column. All right. So first you have to keep in mind, always the first loop will be there that should control the row. That means first you enter the row, then only you will be able to print the column. That means the first loop will be there. That loop should control the number of uh, what I say j row part. Okay. Now let us see over here. Okay. So here we see like how many rows are present over here. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total 5 rows are present. All right. So total 5 rows are present. So if total 5 rows are present, that means your first loop should control total 5 rows. Okay. So what I mean by this, I will show you quickly. So let's move toward the first part. Let me solve over here directly. So you see like there is five there is 5 row over here. Okay. So what I will do, today I am getting disturbed by flies. No issue. Let us see over here. uh okay, see, what we were trying to achieve, right, we have to control the 5 rows. So let's quickly solve over here. Like what I told you, the first loop that will be there, you need to write the condition in such a way like that will control the row and that should also control the number of row that is given. So over here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows are there. So you will say int I is equals to 1. So if you are starting from 1 and you have to go till 5, means 5 should also be included, then the condition should be less than or equal to 5. All right. So you'll write int I equals to 1, I less than equal to 5, and I plus plus. All right. Then what we'll do next? So this means you have written the 50%. 50% work is done. So this was the first task. First task was to write the number of row it will get executed. So number of row was 5. So you have written I will start from 1 and I will go till 5. 5 is also included. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So total 5 iterations will be there. So that is first part is done. Next, now you see in each row how many column we are printing, that you have to find the logic. So over here if you see in row number 1 I am printing only one column. Row number 1, one column. Row number 2, two column. Row number 3, three column. Row number 4, four column, and row number 5, five column. That means in each row I have to print that many number of column. All right. So over here I will write the J loop. So what I will say int J. So what I told, first will be the row, number of row that we are trying to achieve, okay, or try to print. Over here, now you see in each row how many column I need to print. The second loop will control in each row how many column you have to print. So you will say, I will start from 1, but what will be the terminating condition that you have to find. So you will say, in each row, I am starting from 1. When my value of I is 1, that time j should run only 1. So what can be the logic? When the I value is 2, that j loop should execute it 2 times. So what you can think of, like I will start j equals to 1 and I will terminate when j is less than or equal to I, then I will terminate. Got it? So what I'm telling, I will start from 1 and I will terminate it until the value of I reaches the row number in which row I am in. All right. So the I, now let us try to execute it. So you see over here, I value was 1. You see I value was over here 1. Suppose I am trying to find for the second case, when the I value will be 2, so what will happen? J will start from 1, and J will get up till 2. So 1 and 2, that means 2 time it will get executed. So for row number 2, we have to execute 2 column. That is, we are getting the right result. Now, suppose this I value when it reaches 5, when I value reaches 5, then what will be the condition? J will start from 1 and J will be less than or equal to 5. That means it is starting from 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That means J loop will be executed 5 times. So this is very important. This logic you have to build up. This logic you have to think. Remaining you can write very easily. This part you can write very easily. How many rows are there? This part you can write very easily, but only problem will come in this terminating condition, that is a second loop terminating condition. Now you see over here, what will write? So here you see a constant value is getting printed, that is a star. So in each iteration of j, in each row, what will print? Will print star. So we'll write SOPLN. You have to write system.out.println, not ln. Keep in mind. So I'm erasing over here. Why I will say you. We have to write system dot out dot print, and what we need to print? We need to print star. Okay, we need to print star. Now you see, after printing, suppose you were in the row number 4, so what you will do? You will print star, you will print star, you will print star, you will print star 4 times. When this loop will execute it 4 times, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, then you are changing the line, got it? Means in one row, after completing the execution of one row, then you are trying to change the line. So after execution of this, block, we'll write SOPLN, system dot out dot print ln. You don't need to pass anything. This will be a empty block. Got it? This will be empty block. That means whenever this I value, means this j part got executed, then what will happen? This new line will be executed. That means the control will go from here to here and it will go for the next iteration. Suppose the last iteration was 4. Now the iteration for I will be 5, and now for 5 it will be getting executed. You try to dry run what I showed you in the last part. You try to dry run on your own, you will get the concept. So the basic concept here, what you have to follow is, like, first part you have to control the row, how many row. Second part, I have to control the column. That means inside each row, what is the number of column. So you'll notice, like when we write all the pattern printing, most of the cases this I is dependent on j. This j is dependent on I. All right. So we'll write all the terminating condition for j based on I. All right. So I hope this was pretty much easy. Okay. So now let us move towards the next question. Now you see over here, it is pretty much similar to last problem that we had. Only the condition that is changing, instead of I, sorry, instead of star, here there is 1. So what you will do? The same program that you have written, nothing will change. Only this line will change into system dot out dot print, and you will pass 1. Only this line will change. Remaining everything will be same for this question. All right, very easy. So you have to write it on your own. Now let's move toward the next question. Now over here you see it is pretty much similar to that last problem that we solved, but here the value of, now the value in each row is changing. Now the value in each row is changing. In row number 1 it was 1, in row number 2 it was 2, in row number 3 it is 3. So the same logic I will quickly write. Again I am repeating, try to focus over here. You will write the first part for int I is equals to 1, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus. This one you can easily write because you see over here there is 5 row. I will start from 1 and I will go till 5. That's it. Very easy. Now the second part, what I told you, for this type of pyramid, for this type, you will always find that in row number 1, for 1 there is 1, for 2 there is 2 column, for third row there is third column. So always build a logic, like whenever that this type of question is coming where the number of column is equivalent to number of row, then always this condition will come, always this condition will come, j will be less than I. This always will come. Okay, now come over here. So what we see, I is equals to 1, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus. Now we'll write for j. For int j equals to 1, always we have to start j equals to 1. There will be some scenario where you have to start from other part. When we'll learn about the inverse one, then we'll see. Okay, so what you see over here, j is 1, we're starting from 1, and j should be less than or equal to I. J should be less than equal to. How you are approaching this logic? You have to think like, for each row, how many columns I have to print? For row number 1, 1, for row number 2, 2. That means j should be less than or equal to I. J value should be terminating when it reaches the value of I, that is the row number. That means always this condition will come, j less than equal to I. Now j plus plus. All right, now over here the logic will change. Last time what we printed 1, and before that we printed star. So here what you see, inside this block what you are going to write, system dot out dot print, and over here what we are going to print. You see, when the value of I is 1, then you have to print 1. When the value of I is 2, then you have to print 2. That means you will have to get help of I. So here you will print the value of I. You have to close your eyes and just print the value of I, because you are seeing when I am in this row, that is the I equals to 1, then my value of I have to print. In each row I have to print the value of I. When I was 1, I am printing 1. When I was 2, then I will be printing 2. Similarly, when the I value will be 3, I will be printing 3. Super easy. Next, after printing this block, after printing every row, suppose we printed this, now we have to come to the next line. So for coming to the next line, after this for closing, we have to change the line. So we'll write system dot out dot print ln. All right, so we covered this 3 part. Now let us see the next part. Okay, so over here, this is a very important question. It will come in your exam most probably most of the time. It is called a Floyd's triangle. Okay, so this question is asked so many times. So you have to focus over here. Like if you see over here, it is similar to the last problem, but again here the scenario is changing. What scenario is changing? Like first you have to print 1, then you have to print 2, then you have to print 3, then you have to print 4, then you have to print 5. That means for each iteration, that is for each iteration for j, each iteration of j, you have to increment the value. Whatever value you take, for this type of question, you take one another variable. Apart from I, apart from j, you take the help of another variable and try to increment that value by 1 each time in the j loop. In the j loop, you increment that value. Got it? So have a look over here. So what we'll do, we'll say for this type question, what I told you, you initialize another variable. So we'll initialize another variable int a equals to 1. Whenever you see like this is not following the row part or not following the column position, then you have to use third variable. Okay, so we see over here like this we cannot directly use it, so we created another variable int a equals to 1. Now what we'll say, for int I equals to 1, I less than equal to 5. How many rows are there? 5 rows. So we'll say int I less than 5, I plus plus. All right. Next, what will be the logic over here? Now we have to control the column. To control the column, we'll write the j part. For int j is equals to 1. Now always you see, always for this type of question, always j will be less than or equal to 1. I, not 1. J plus plus. All right. Now over here you see like first value what you have to print. First value that you have to print is a. So the value of a we have initialized with 1. So whatever will be the first value given, so you initialize that in your variable. So we initialized with 1. Now what we'll say, we'll say system dot out dot print, and in this we will pass a, will pass a. All right. Then what I told you, in the j loop, after printing you have to increment the value of a. So we'll write a plus plus, a plus plus. All right. You can write like this also, and I have also taught you about the post increment. So instead of writing in two line, you can directly write over here and you can say a plus plus. What it will do, it will print the value of a. That means first 1 will get printed, then the value of a will get incremented. All right. So you can write both way. You can write system.out.println a, then in the next line you can write a plus plus, or in the same line you can write system.out.println a plus plus. You cannot write plus plus a. If you have to write plus plus a, that means you have to make the initial value of a equals to 0. Got it? Now what you will do, you will simply change the line system dot out dot print ln. Got it? So this was a complete part. It's very easy. Just you have to focus on the terminating condition, these condition. Remaining you can build up on your own. Next, type 1. For the type 1, this is the last part. Over here you see like there is a separate logic, but still that j is less than I, that logic will follow. But now here you see another a different type of approach. So how you can solve this? You see, when the value of j, see how to approach to any problem. You see over here, this is column 1. You will be starting from j equals to 1, so this will be j equals to 1. This will be the value when j is 2, j is 3, j is 4, when j is 5, when I is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. All right. So you see, when the value of j will be 1, that is when the value of j is odd number, then we are printing star. And when the value of j is even number, we are printing hash. So it became very easy. This logic only you have to find it out. So again, we'll write for int I is equals to 1, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus. Then for int j is equals to 1, j less than equal to I. Always this condition will come. How? Because in each row we are printing the number of in which row number we are in. So for this we are in row number 1, so only one column. For row number 2, two column. That is why we are writing j should be less than or equal to I. All right. Now j plus plus. Next, what we have to check? We have to check a condition. Like in the conditional construct, I taught you about the if condition. So over here, we'll not directly print. First, we'll check the condition whether the value of j right now is even or odd. So we'll check if if j modulus 2 double equals to 0. So if we write like this, what it means, if the value of j was 1, suppose the value of j was 1, we are trying to divide by 2. So what will happen? 2 zeros are 0. You will get 0 and the remainder will be 1. So if you, when the value of j was 1 and we were trying to divide it by 2, that time we got 1, we didn't got 0. But when the value of j will be even, that time you will get 0. That means this is a condition for even part. When the j value is even, then we are writing this condition. So when the j value is even, we have to print hash. So we'll write system dot. So over here you see, if you see, like only one line, if there is only one line, you have to write, don't need to give the curly braces. If there is a multiple of line, then you need to give the curly braces. For now, I need only one line, so I'm skipping the curly braces. So I will write system dot out dot print, and you have to pass hash. So this you have to keep in mind. So for the j, that is for the even part, I have to print hash. Else, if the value of j is not even, that means it is odd. So for the odd part, I will write else system dot out dot print, and I will pass star over here. All right. So after this, what we'll say, after this, before the closing of for I part, so we'll change the line, system dot out dot print ln. Got it? So this is pretty much easy. So we covered the type 1. Now let's move forward for the next type. So you see inverted right half pyramid. So it is also the same part, but you have to think in bit different way. So in the beginning, we were starting the loop from I equals to 1. Now we can start in a reverse order. We will say for I is equals to 5. So we can start in a reverse order since this is a inverted one. So quickly let's solve the third part, this one. Let's solve this part. If I am solving this part, you will be able to solve the first two. So let's go towards the third part. Let us see over here. So this is your question, like 5 5 5 4 4 4. So always remember the concept what I have told you, like first loop will control the row. So I can see like how many rows are there: 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 4 row, 5 row. So close your eyes and write the logic for row. Got it? So you'll write for int I is equals to 1, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus. But there is a cache over here. What I mean by this, if you write like this way, this was the logic we were writing for the right half pyramid. Now for the inverse, you can write like this way also. But it will be very easy if you try it in a reverse order. Now instead of going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we will say we will be going from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Got my point? So we'll say instead of starting from 1, now we'll start from 5 and we'll try to decrement it. Why? Because our here the logic is inverted. So if we'll use the reverse logic, then that will become very easy. So instead we'll say, instead this part will now change. So if we are, see, so if we are starting from 5, when we have to terminate? We have to terminate when the I value reaches 1. So we'll say when I is greater than or equal to 1. Only this part will change. This part will change. Like in the previous cases, what we were writing, I starting from 1 and I less than equal to given number. So now how you will say I'm starting from 5 and I will terminate when the I value reaches means until the I value is greater than 1. This means I will continue until the I value is greater than 1. That means I will go on decrementing until it reaches a value 1. All right. Now what I will say, I will decrement it I plus plus. So only this part is changing. I minus minus. We are decrementing it because we are going from 5, 4, 3 to 1. That is, we are decrementing it. All right. Now what we'll say here, now you have to write a logic again. So now you'll control the loop for J part. So what you'll say, for int j. Now you see what is the logic. Like you can start from j equals to 1, and how many times you have to go. Suppose you start over here when you are in row number 1. When you are in row number 1, then what you have to do? You have to print 5 column. So what you will say, either you start from 1 or either you start from 5. That doesn't matter for this question. Here 555 is there. So we'll take the reverse order only. So we'll say we'll start from 5 and we will go until this I. So if we are starting from 5, so that means how many times we have to execute? How many times we have to execute? For row number 1, we have to execute. For 5, we have to execute 5. For 4, we have to execute 4. So either way you can write. Even if you start from 1, you can say it should be less than or equal to I. Okay. Or if you start j equals to 5, if you start j equals to 5, then you have to say, like for this part, j equals to, we have written j equals to 5 over here. So you see, j also if we are taking as 5, that means for this it will be 5, for the second it will be 4, for the third it will be 3. That means if I'm starting from 5, I have to go until I minus that row number. What I mean by this? So instead of that, what we can say, it will again become easy if we write 1. I will let you know why. So if you write j equals to 1, then what you can say, I have to print this how many times? Until it reaches I. Again, that logic will come. If you see, it is totally based on your logic, how you are trying to solve the problem. You can either solve both the loop, you can start from 1, either both the loop you can start from 5. So you have to think which one becomes easy. All right. So if we are writing from 1, j equals to 1, so what we'll say, we are starting from j equals to 1. So how many times I have to print? Until it reaches I. Until it reaches I. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll say j plus plus. Why j plus plus? Because we are starting from 1. We are not starting from the end number. All right. So what we'll say here is system dot out dot print, and what we need to print? We need to print the row number, that is 5. All right, that is the row number. Row is controlled by I. So here what will print? Will print I. So you try to dry run in your brain. How you can dry run in your brain? You will see I'm starting from I, starting from 5, and I'm going until 1. That means 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That means the first loop will execute it 4 times. So you pick any number. You pick I equals to 5. In that scenario, what you will see, when my value of j is 1 and the I value was 5, then this second loop will start from 1, it will go up till 5. That means when the value of I is 5, my inner loop is running 5 times. Totally correct. When the value of I is equals to 5, that means this we are going in a reverse order. I value was 5, we are running 5 times. Similarly, you think of the I is 2. When I will be 2, this part will be executing how many times? You can think like I am starting from 1, I will go till 2, that means 2 times. That means we are executing 2 times. So we'll write over here system.out.print I. Okay, now at the end we'll write system.out.println. All right, so it is super easy. Now suppose the question is bit twisted. Suppose the next question, suppose it is like this. It is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then it is again 5, 4, 3, 2, over here 2. Then 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, and 5. Now you think of this logic, what you will do? You will say first part will be pretty much same, then second part will be also pretty much same, but here the printing part is changing. So what you will say, instead of printing I, we have to print J, but there again is a cache. What is a cache? Like first you have to print 5. So here the value was J. So if you'll print J, here it will come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this order. But this it doesn't require. So in that scenario, when the question is like this, you have to change the logic accordingly. In that scenario, what you will say? You will start the J from 5. Okay, and you will then decrement it. So based on that, you have to build your logic. Until and unless you solve different types of problem, you won't get that concept. Okay, now let's move forward. The type 3. So for the type 3 over here, you see like what I told you, for all the type 3, like whenever there is a question for the left half pyramid, that is your diagonal is facing toward the left, that means you need 3 loop. I for row, J for column, and K for your white spaces. So you see over here, first you need to print the white space, then you print the column. Got it? So let us quickly try to solve the first problem. Problem number 1 is like you see star, 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 but with some white spaces. So how many white spaces? That you have to first calculate. You have to first calculate the white spaces. So over here, if you see here, how many white spaces is there? 1. I'm giving a dash sign, or let me change the color. Uh, 1, 2. So here 1, here 1, over here 1, here 2, here 1, 2, 1, 2. So you see, first you fill the white spaces. So you see in the first row, when you will be in row number 1, how many white space you have to print? 4 white spaces. In row number 2, so always you write like this. First write row number 1, row number 2, row number 3, row number 4, and row number 5. So this is column number 1, column number 2, column number 3, column number 4, and column number 5. So first 4 should be your white spaces for row number 1. Again for row number 3, for row number 2, see the pattern you have to observe. In the first row there is 4 white spaces. In the second row there is 3 white spaces, then 2 white spaces, then 1 white spaces. Whenever you see a pattern like it is decrementing or incrementing, you have to take help of I. Always I am telling you have to take help of I. Like the same way, like we were taking for J less than equal to I. Similarly, for the K part also will take the help of I. Let us see over here. So what we'll say, for int I is equals to 1. Okay. So I told you, always you start for this type, for a normal pyramid, you always start from 1. So first loop says how many rows you want. You close your eyes and see like it is 5 rows. So you write I equals to 1, I less than equal to 5. Always you will be writing this part correct. That I can guarantee. Always you will be able to write this part correct. But the second part, the terminating part of the second loop, you might make mistake. Okay. So come over here. Next you see, you have to first observe, like first you have to print the data, or first you have to print the white space. You see, first you have to print the white space, then you have to print the data. So we'll say, first inside the I loop, first I have to print the K loop for the white spaces. So I will say, for int K is equals to 1, K is equals to 1. And how many times I have to go? I told you, like the same way that we were writing the logic for J based on I, similarly, we will write the logic of K based on I. Got it? So what we'll say, when you think of any row number, you take help of any row number in your brain. Suppose I am taking help of row number 3. All right. So you'll say, for row number 3, when the I value was 3, I have to print 2 white space. So you see, for row number 3, you need 2 white space. For row number 1, you need 4 white space. For row number 2, you need 3 white spaces. For row number 3, you need 2 white spaces. For row number 4, you need 1 white spaces, and for row number 5, you need 0 white space. So what could be the logic? So you have to derive a logic for this type of question. So you can see over here, our total number of row is 5. Total row is 5. So if you subtract 5 minus I, so if you subtract 5 minus I, so if you subtract, suppose you are in row number 1, so if you subtract 5 minus I, you will get 4. Again, if you subtract 5 minus 2, you will get 3. Again, you subtract 5 minus 3, you will get 2. Again, if you subtract 5 minus 4, you will get 1. And if you subtract 5 minus 5, then you will get 0. So what logic we have derived? We have derived like 5 minus I, we have to go till 5 minus I. So we'll say k should be less than or equal to 5 minus I. Got it? How we derived the formula? You see over here. For row number 1, you need to go 4 times. For row number 2, you need to go 3 times. So you always take the help of total number of rows. Total number of rows was 5. So for the total number of rows, if we are subtracting the row number, this is total row and minus row number. So if we are subtracting the total row with the row number, total row was 5, and we are subtracting the row number, we are getting the total white spaces for each row. So you see, like for each row, we are getting different number of white spaces. Got it? So over here, so what we'll say, k plus plus. Got it? It is very easy. Now inside this block, you have to write system dot out dot print, and you have to print white space. White space means give the quotation, and in between the quotation you give one white space. Okay. Now after this part, what you are going to do? You have printed the white space. Now you have to print the data. You don't have to change the row, because first you have to print the data, then you have to change the row. So what you will say, now you'll write the logic for the j part. For int j is equals to 1, j less than equal to, int j equals to 1, j less than equal to. Now you try to find out how many row, means how many column inside each row you have to print. So you see, for row number 1, j should be printed 1. For row number 2, 2 star. For row number 3, 3 star. So whatever logic we have learned in the last slide, that is less than equal to I. So for row number 1, 1. Row number 2, 2. Row number 3, 3. That means I will start from 1 and I will go until j reaches I. Got it? Very easy. Then what we will do? J plus plus. J plus plus. If you are not able to understand any concept, what you have to do, you have to pause the video and then you have to dry run it, and then you will get the exact idea what is happening. Okay, so let us see over here next. Now inside each column, that is inside the each data, what do you have to print? We have to print a star. So we'll write system dot out dot print star. Got it? Now, after writing this logic, after you have printed all the star, suppose this loop is running 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. After this part, you are going to change the line. System dot out dot print ln. So you see over here, this for loop is only 1, because I have not given the curly braces. If you don't give the curly braces, that means you are trying to execute only one line. So if you give curly braces, that is also okay. If you don't give the curly braces, that is also okay for one line of piece of code. Okay. Next, what we'll do, we'll close this for part. That is the I part. So for this type of question, you have to keep in mind, like first I will print the white spaces, then I will print my data. So for this, you need 3 loops. You need I, you need j, you need k. But you have to follow the sequence. First row, always it will be row, always I, then k. K means the white spaces for this type of question. Okay, now let's move forward. So this one you can easily solve it. It is straightforward. So what you have to do, instead of what we are printing star, you have to print 1. Got it? Next, this one, it is also same. Instead of printing 1, you have to print I. That is the row number you have to print. All right. So this third part we have completed. Now let's move forward for the fourth one, that is the inverted part. So this is also pretty much similar to what we did in the inverted for the right half pyramid. Okay, so if you see over here, again, you can start in any way. So whatever concept I gave you in the right half pyramid, inverted one, the same concept applies over here. Got it? So you try to build the logic, but here only difference is first you have to print the white spaces. So in the same way, what I told you over there, but here you will have to add the K loop also. Let us solve this part, B part. Let us solve the B part. Okay, so you see over here 1 1 1 1, and this part is there. Okay, so let us solve. For int I is equals to 1, so you see you can start from 1. Even for the inverted you can start from 1. That logic will become tough. Always try to keep mind, like for the inverse part, I will start from the total row number, whatever the total row number is here. So I will start from 5. I equals to 5. I should be greater than equal to. Keep in mind, whenever you are starting from 1, it is less than equal to. And whenever you are starting from bigger number, it is greater than equal to. So you will say greater than equal to 1 I minus minus. Now, what you will say? Now you have to think of white spaces. Here, one white space. Here, two white space. Here, 1, 2, and 3 white spaces. 1 over here, 2 over here, 3 over here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So first you have to mark the white spaces. So you see in row number 1, no white spaces is present. Okay. So what will be the logic? For whenever you write the condition for the second loop, always try to check the condition at least for 2 rows. For the 2 rows, if the logic is exactly correct, that means you have written the correct logic, right? So always whenever you write the logic, you check for 2 rows in your mind itself, then you will get exactly like I am writing it correct or wrong. Okay, so you will say for int k is equals to 1. So k is equals to 1. Now you see, again same way, in the last question how we derived the white spaces. Similar way we'll say for row number 1 we need 0 white space. For row number 2 we need 1 white space. For row number 3 we need 2 white space. For row number 4 we need 3 white space. For row number 5 we need 4 white space. So what could be the logic? So what could be the logic over here? So if you build 5 minus I, somebody is telling 5 minus I. So if you build 5 minus I, your 5 is row number, total number is 5, and you minus 1, in this case, it will become 4. So if you do 5 minus I, that means it is becoming 0. Sorry, it is becoming 4, but you need 0 over here. Okay, so what can be the logic? You have to think of this logic. Okay, so let us have a look over here. Let us have a look over here. So for the row number I that is having value 5, you need 0 white spaces. Okay, so what you will say, yeah, that is absolutely correct. We are starting from 5. We are starting from 5. I thought we are starting from 1. So if we are starting from 5, that means total row was 5. And we are subtracting the row number, that is row number, this is 5. We are going in a reverse order. This is 4, this is 4, this is 3, this is 2, this is 1. But suppose, let us, this is, since this is the last question of your class, now we'll think in a different approach. Now suppose there is some student who is saying like, no sir, I will start from 1 itself. Okay, now let us see. You, if anyone says I will start the I from 1, it doesn't matter whatever logic I told, he is not trying to follow that. Okay, so he's telling I will start from 1. So even from 1 you can write the logic. Let us see. Let us drive that. So you must be very much flexible. Whatever approach you take, you need to find the solution. So what I'm telling, we will start from I equals to 1 and we'll go till 5, then we'll do I plus plus. Got it? That means we have written the row number. Now you think for row number 1, for row number 2, for row number 3, for 4 and for 5. So you see over here, for row number for row number 1, for row number 1, there is 0. For row number 1, there is 0. For row number 2, there is 1. For 3, there is 2. For 4, there is 3. And for 5, there is 4. So who can tell me the logic? Quickly comment it down. What logic, what, what can be the logic? What can be the logic for this case? Okay, so let us try to build a logic. Let us quickly build a logic. So here you see, like my value of I was 1. Okay, so when the value of I is 1, what can I add or what can I subtract over here? So you think of if you subtract the row number is 2, row number is 3, row number is 4, row number is 5. So you see a logic is coming over here. If you subtract the row number by 1, if you subtract the row number by 1, you see here I value 4 and I minus, uh, sorry, in each case, you have to subtract by 1. I minus 1, I minus 1, I minus 1, and I minus 1. Now you try to run it. Now you try to run it. Like if the I value is 1, then you subtract 1 by 1, it will become 0. So total 0 spaces. When the I value is 2, then 2 minus 1 is 1 white spaces. Similarly, for last row, when I value is 5, if you subtract by 1, you will get 4. So even if you start from 1 or even if you start from 5, you can build the logic on your own. Okay. So we can say for int k is equals to 1, k will be less than equal to I minus 1. What is the logic? K is less than equal to I minus 1. All right. Now it will be k plus plus, k plus plus. Now we have to print white spaces. So you see over here directly, instead of giving the curly braces, we can write system dot out dot print white spaces. Got it? Now, after printing the white spaces, you now need to write the J part, J loop. So you will say for int J is equals to 1. Now you see, in this part, I'm always starting from 1. I'm always starting from 1. So what you will say? I am saying like j is equals to 1, and you see over here for row number 1 you have to print. Now see the second scenario. For row number 1, you see over here for row number 1 you need 5 column. For row number 2 you need 4 column. For row number 3 you need 3 column. For row number 4 you need 2 column, and for row number 5 you need 1 column. Now again, you have to build the logic for J also. So what will be the logic for J you think of? So when you are in row number 1, you need the value 5. When the value is 2, then you need 4. So if we write 6 minus the row number, 6 minus the row number, 6 minus the row number, what will happen? 6 minus 1 is 5, 6 minus 2 is 4, 6 minus 3 is equals to 3, 6 minus 4 equals to 2. So we have derived a formula that J should be less than or equal to 6 minus I. J should be less than or equal to 6 minus I and J plus plus. Now, you see over here, what you have to print? You have to print 1. So directly you can write system dot out dot print 1. And after writing all this part, when the J part is executed, then you are going to change the line. System dot out dot print ln. Got it? So this was the complete pattern printing topic that we need to cover. We have already covered. This was a very much important part. There are few miscellaneous questions left. So I will try to give one dedicated video for the miscellaneous part on the later part. But you have to solve all the problem that I taught you today. Okay. Still, if you have any doubt, you can comment it. Okay. Thank you.